In a small workshop shaped by time and routine, an old craft continues much as it always has. Every movement follows a method learned long ago, every tool bearing the marks of use and repair. This film traces the work step by step, revealing how skill, patience, and tradition once defined everyday labor. Look inside the sample room of a Solingen blade factory, calm, refined, and lined with balanced steel. Here, rapiers, sabers, and other edged weapons sit as symbols of power, ceremony, and personal identity. This craft never disappeared, living on in small workshops and modern factories where tradition meets industry. Forging begins with simple steel blanks supplied by specialized dealers. At the hammer, the bladesmith shapes the metal in 4 main steps, starting with the tang, the hidden spine that will one day hold the grip. Before every strike, the steel returns to the furnace. Drawing out follows, stretching the blade longer with each measured blow. This motion has been documented in Solingen since the 14th century. For generations, production was divided among 4 crafts: the smith, the hardener, the grinder, and the sword fitter. Under the hammer, the smith gives the blade its shape, its strength, and its spring. Next comes the fuller, often called the blood groove. This shallow hollow lightens the blade without weakening it, a detail understood only through long experience. In industrial production, this work has been mechanized. At the Hörster factory, steel blanks are heated until they glow white-hot, then fed into rolling mills. Machines now repeat movements once guided only by hands and shoulders. Back in a home workshop, Mr. Paffenhoff continues the older way. Now 58, he forges around 6,000 blades a year for Solingen factories and customers worldwide. Trained as an open-die smith, he specialized in edged weapons in the early 1970s. At the straightening form on the anvil, the blade is carefully coaxed into its final line. Once forged, the blades move to hardening. Heated until the steel is ready, they are quenched in oil or water. The sudden cooling locks the surface hard while keeping the core tough and resilient. Tempering follows. In gentler heat, the blade regains flexibility, strength balanced with spring. Hardening can cause blades to warp. Straightening is done entirely by hand, relying on trained eyes and sensitive touch. Sword grinding is among the most demanding jobs. On the massive grinding stone, workers shield themselves with wooden clogs, tarps, and blankets against cold, moisture, and constant danger. In the past, stone dust looked harmless in the air, but it silently destroyed lungs. Today, artificial stones are required. Before grinding begins, the stone is dressed and the blade fixed in place. Wooden grinding blocks wear down fast, often lasting only a few weeks under constant contact. After grinding, no bumps should remain. The grinder relies on sight and feel alone to keep the blade even from end to end. In another room, surfaces are refined further on stones and polishing wheels. Coarse grinding shapes the spine and the guard area. Fuller grinding follows. Willy Ulrich, trained in 1956, comes from a family that has practiced blade grinding for more than 4 centuries. As a home-based worker, he once ground up to 2,000 saber blades a month. This was his specialty. His customers included royal houses and military clients around the world. Once, Solingen dominated the global market. Today, competition from low-wage countries has reshaped everything. Polishing marks the final refinement, fine grinding on the belt. Before the final polish, a mixture of grease and oil is applied. The blade meets a rotating sisal brush, bringing out its sheen. Surface decoration continues with demaskining. Mr. Hermsat, 56, still masters this traditional technique. Using asphalt varnish and silk paper, patterns are transferred by hand press, leaving behind the negative image of the ornament.
Yes.
Demaskining has been recorded in Solingen since the 17th century. A transfer method developed in the 19th century is still used today. Unetched areas are protected with a traditional base made of beeswax, turpentine, and asphalt. Etching is done with nitric acid, applied carefully to avoid damaging the protective layers. Today, only about 20 damasceners remain in Solingen, most finishing knives and edged weapons. Gasoline removes the varnish. Sawdust dries the blades, guarding against rust. In electroplating, blades pass through automated baths. Modern systems monitor current and solution levels to ensure even coating. After drying, the blades are complete, ready for assembly. A finished edged weapon brings together blade, fittings, and scabbard. Sword fitters file, shape, polish, and assemble each piece, a trade that once gave rise to merchants and factory owners. Fittings are bent into shape, gold-plated, and placed in warm water, giving them their final color. And still the Solingen sword endures, used for service, ceremony, student traditions, and symbols of honor. It remains a reminder that some crafts survive not because they are safe or easy, but because they matter.